This wasn't just a clash, it was a total takedown. Elon Musk walked into Congress and obliterated Reppers Jasmine Crockett in real time. She came at him with accusations. He came back with cold, hard facts. One question from Elon, and her entire argument crumbled on live TV. This moment is going viral for a reason. Watch how it all collapsed right here. Before diving into the story, comment where you're watching from and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the latest stories. You don't know what you're talking about. Elon fires back. It all started with a fiery exchange that nobody saw coming. Elon Musk, the billionaire visionary behind Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and X, formerly Twitter, had been called to testify before Congress. The hearing was supposed to be a routine session, a discussion about online safety, misinformation, and the power of social media platforms. These types of hearings had become increasingly common, especially in an era where technology and politics collide on a near-daily basis. But this one, it would be anything but ordinary. The air in the chamber was already tense. Reporters packed the back rows. Social media influencers streamed snippets live, and seated just across from Elon Musk was Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, a Democrat known for her fiery personality, sharp tongue, and unapologetic advocacy on hot-button issues. Crockett was rising fast through the political ranks, and today she seemed ready to make her mark. Without hesitation, Crockett began her opening remarks by launching into a scathing critique of Musk's leadership of X. Her voice was firm, her tone almost accusatory. "Under your ownership," she said, "X has become a breeding ground for hate, conspiracy theories, and dangerous misinformation. How can you claim to support free speech when your platform is used to undermine democracy?" Musk sat still for a moment, almost calm. He'd faced worse, of course. But something about this line of attack clearly struck a nerve. Then, slowly, leaning forward into his microphone, his face unreadable, Musk replied in a voice just loud enough to command the room. "You don't know what you're talking about." Silence. The words rang out like a gunshot in a quiet canyon. The room froze. Even seasoned lawmakers looked stunned. Musk didn't raise his voice, but the weight of his words was impossible to ignore. He wasn't dodging the question. He wasn't spinning a response. He was going on the offensive, and he meant every word. Crockett, momentarily taken aback, tried to recover her footing. "Excuse me?" she asked, eyebrows raised. "I've been following your platform's content issues for months." But Elon didn't let up. With intensity building in his voice, he continued, "You're accusing me of promoting hate and misinformation. But have you looked at the actual data? Or are you just repeating what legacy media says because it fits your narrative?" You could almost hear the tension crackle through the microphones. Musk was now visibly animated. He cited content moderation statistics, user growth, and the implementation of community notes, a feature on X that allows users to collaboratively fact-check posts in real time. "We've built more transparency into our system than any other social media platform," he said. "Unlike your favored networks, we don't hide behind shadow bans and secret blacklists." Crockett tried to shift the topic, calling X a megaphone for chaos, but the damage was already done. Musk seized the moment, calling out what he described as politically convenient outrage. "The truth is, you don't care about free speech. You care about control. You want platforms to say what you think is acceptable and silence everything else." The audience, whether physically present or watching live, was captivated. This wasn't a typical congressional hearing anymore. It was a public reckoning. Crockett attempted to pivot again, referring to a study linking X to increased political extremism, but Musk interrupted. "Let me ask you this," he said sharply. "Do you even use X regularly?" She paused. "I'm not on it every day, no. That was it." The moment. Musk leaned back in his chair and gave a slight smirk, the kind that says, "Case closed." "Then maybe before you try to regulate something, you should understand how it works." The silence in the chamber this time wasn't just awkward, it was deafening. The Congresswoman's credibility had taken a direct hit. The internet noticed almost immediately. Within minutes, clips of the exchange flooded X, TikTok, and YouTube. Pundits across the political spectrum weighed in. Some praised Crockett for confronting Musk. Many more praised Musk for standing his ground. Memes exploded. Commentators called it the most intense moment in a congressional hearing this year. The phrase, "You don't know what you're talking about," trended globally. Hashtags like Dart Elon vs. Crockett, Musk McDrop, and free speech fight lit up every corner of social media. It wasn't just a moment, it was a movement, and behind all the drama was a very real debate about who controls the truth in the digital age. Was Musk too blunt? Maybe. Was he disrespectful? Depends who you ask. But one thing was undeniable. He came prepared, and he wasn't backing down. While Congress often sees executives from Silicon Valley cower under pressure, Musk flipped the script. He turned a hearing designed to grill him into a platform to grill the very people trying to regulate him. By the end of the exchange, Crockett looked rattled. She continued with her questions, but the momentum had clearly shifted. Musk was no longer the one on trial, Congress was. And as the session adjourned, one thing was crystal clear. This wasn't just about social media. This was about power, truth, and the future of free speech. And Elon Musk had just delivered a message that no one, especially Congress, was going to forget. Musk wasn't just defending himself, he was defending something far bigger, the principle of free speech itself. As the exchange between Elon Musk and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett intensified, the spotlight moved beyond the man behind Tesla and SpaceX. This was no longer about one person or one company. It had become a high-stakes ideological showdown between a powerful tech mogul fighting for open platforms and a government figure demanding tighter control. When Crockett accused Musk of allowing dangerous narratives to thrive on X, she likely expected the same rehearsed defensiveness she'd seen from other tech CEOs. But Elon wasn't there to play defense. He was there to challenge the entire premise of the attack. With calm intensity, Musk leaned into his mic and fired back. "You're calling it misinformation, but who decides what's true? You?" The words hit hard, not just because of the tone, but because of the uncomfortable truth they pointed out. Musk's challenge wasn't rhetorical. It was a direct shot at the growing alliance between media, government, and regulatory powers that have increasingly positioned themselves as truth arbiters in recent years. Whether it's pandemic information, election results, or foreign policy, Musk argued that truth had become a political tool, redefined and restricted by those in power. Crockett, unwilling to let him gain the upper hand, quickly countered by referencing studies and government-backed reports claiming that X had become a hotbed for hate speech, misinformation, and foreign influence. But Musk was ready. He countered with sharp precision, citing X's transparency, tools, the open-source nature of its algorithms, and the power of community notes, a system that allows users themselves to flag and fact-check content. No secret blacklist. No behind-the-scenes moderators making silent decisions. Just open, public debate. The old system lets a few elites decide what's acceptable, Musk argued. We believe people should decide for themselves. He went on to quote statistics. User engagement was rising. Misinformation reports had dropped since the introduction of decentralized moderation, and X had taken stronger steps to eliminate child exploitation and real hate speech than many competitors. He even pointed out that under his leadership, accounts from both sides of the political spectrum had been restored or fairly suspended based on community-enforced guidelines, not government pressure. The message was clear. X wasn't lawless. It was just less controlled by political interests. Still, Crockett tried to shift the narrative again, asking if giving everyone a voice didn't ultimately empower extremists and radicals. That's when Musk dropped one of the hearing's most powerful lines. Free speech isn't about protecting popular opinions. It's about protecting the ones you hate. That's the whole point. A murmur went through the room. This wasn't just bold. It was philosophical. Musk wasn't talking like a CEO trying to protect his brand. He was talking like someone who truly believed in the core values of democracy, even if it came at great personal cost. He reminded the room that many of today's accepted truths started as unpopular opinions, challenged by society, rejected by the establishment, and ridiculed by the media. Without platforms that allow dissent, we risk losing the ability to innovate, question, and evolve. He even cited historical examples. Galileo silenced for science, Martin Luther King Jr. labeled a radical, Nelson Mandela imprisoned as a threat. These weren't perfect parallels, but they hammered home the point. Truth changes over time, and silencing dissent only delays progress. Crockett was clearly frustrated now. Her attempts to reframe the hearing as a matter of safety and accountability were being outpaced by Musk's bigger picture arguments. And while she had numbers and headlines on her side, Musk had something harder to argue against: logic, data, and a fiercely principled stance. The exchange grew even more intense when Crockett attempted to frame Musk's push for uncensored speech as a form of irresponsibility. "You're giving dangerous people a platform," she said. "No," Musk shot back. "I'm giving everyone a platform. That includes the ones you disagree with." This line drew applause from the gallery. In real time, the internet was watching and reacting. Musk's quotes were already being clipped, shared, and memed. Influencers, commentators, and everyday users were flooding X with reactions. The platform was buzzing with energy, and Elon was once again the center of a digital storm. But this time, he was the one driving it. As the hearing continued, it became obvious that Musk had successfully turned the tables. What was supposed to be a grilling had turned into a full-blown cultural debate about who owns the truth, who controls the conversation, and what freedom actually looks like in the digital era. Crockett wasn't outmatched intellectually. She was outmatched in preparation and purpose. While she tried to pin Musk down with pre-written talking points and institutional backing, Musk spoke from conviction, backed by data, and a deep understanding of the mechanics of his platform. By the end of the session, the dynamic had shifted entirely. The audience, both in the room and online, was no longer questioning Musk. They were questioning the system that brought him there in the first place. The narrative wasn't Elon Musk under fire. It was Elon Musk puts Congress on trial, and when Musk stood up to leave, the message he left behind echoed far beyond the walls of that hearing room. "You may not like what people say, but silencing them won't make it go away. It only makes you look afraid of the truth." As the hearing stretched into its second hour, the pressure in the room was mounting, and Representative Jasmine Crockett was feeling it. The fiery Congresswoman had come into the session with the intent to hold Elon Musk accountable. She had prepared statements, studies, and headlines accusing X, formerly Twitter, of enabling hate speech, political extremism, and misinformation. But what started as a confident assault had slowly unraveled into a battle she wasn't prepared for. With each question she posed, Musk responded not just with facts, but with precision and poise. He wasn't defensive, he was surgical. He challenged her claims, questioned her sources, and poked holes in the mainstream narratives she relied on. For every accusation she made, Musk had a counter supported by platform data, transparency reports, and policy updates. But then came the moment that flipped the entire internet on its head, the knockout, the instant replay moment. Musk, leaning forward slightly with a raised eyebrow, looked her straight in the eye and asked, "Do you even have an account on X? Have you read our policies?" The room fell silent. Cameras zoomed in. Everyone leaned. Closer. Caught off guard, Crockett hesitated. She blinked. Then she answered, "I'm not an active user." And that, right there, was the collapse. It was over. For anyone watching live, it was clear. Musk had just delivered a fatal blow to her credibility. How could someone who doesn't even use the platform or bother to read its policies claim authority to criticize how it's run? The moment was electric. It was unscripted. It was viral. Within minutes, clips of the exchange flooded X, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Influencers were already posting reaction videos. Podcasts were interrupting their schedules to talk about it. Political commentators on both sides of the aisle jumped in. Hashtags began to trend instantly. Shri Elon vs. Crockett, Shri Musk destroys, Shri Crockett collapse, Shri free speech showdown. And then the phrase was born, her empire collapses on the spot. It started as a comment on X and quickly became the title of dozens of viral videos and memes. Creators were posting side-by-side reaction clips showing Crockett's confidence at the start of the hearing versus her stunned expression after Musk's question. TikTok exploded with dramatic edits, zooms on her face, dramatic background music, and captions like, "When you realize you've just been fact-checked by Elon Musk, live." Even political YouTubers who didn't usually cover tech or hearings started uploading content like, "Crockett just got crushed. Here's why it matters." The moment Elon Musk took over the hearing. Mic drop. Elon's question that ended the debate. Some called it a masterclass in preparation. Others labeled it the fall of a media-crafted narrative. But the majority agreed on one thing. Jasmine Crockett, despite her energy and passion, had walked into a battlefield without knowing the terrain, and the internet doesn't forgive unpreparedness, especially when it's live, on camera, and involves Elon Musk. To make things worse for Crockett, her own admission undermined every argument she had made up until that point. How could she claim that hate speech was running rampant if she wasn't even on the platform regularly to see what was happening? How could she demand stricter content regulation without even reading the policies that are already in place? Musk didn't need to gloat. He just let her answer speak for itself. The damage was done. Commentators from across the spectrum weighed in. Center-left voices criticized Crockett for not doing basic research. Right-wing voices hailed Musk as a champion of free speech. Even neutral analysts admitted, in a debate about tech, credibility matters, and Musk had just exposed a massive gap in hers. The media tried to do some damage control. Certain outlets focused on Musk's tone, calling him combative or dismissive. But by then, the narrative was already out of their hands. The online world had already crowned a victor. And this wasn't just about winning a debate. It was about owning the moment. Musk had not only defended his platform, but he had also redefined the playing field. This wasn't about left versus right, or corporate versus government. It was about truth versus posturing. Jasmine Crockett had come to take down Elon Musk. Instead, she walked right into a live trap. By that evening, digital artists were creating fan-style posters of Musk with captions like "Free Speech Warrior" and "Master of Mic Drops." TikTok creators stitched Musk's question with scenes from movies like The Matrix and Gladiator, adding dramatic music and quotes about truth, freedom, and censorship. Crockett, meanwhile, was turned into a cautionary tale. Don't go to war over a platform you don't even use. Political commentators even began speculating that this moment would haunt her in future campaigns. Already online opponents were pulling clips to use in ads and reels. In the court of public opinion, especially the digital kind, this was an L she wouldn't walk away from easily. And as the dust settled, one message was clear. In the modern age, credibility isn't earned with titles, it's earned with knowledge, experience, and honesty. Elon Musk had brought all three to the table. Jasmine Crockett, for all her passion, had brought none. The dust hadn't even settled when the media machine kicked into high gear. Every major outlet rushed to publish its version of the story. On cable news, online blogs, and social platforms, the Elon Musk versus Jasmine Crockett hearing had become the hottest political flashpoint of the week. But as the clips went viral and the memes took over, the response from the media told a story of its own. Left-leaning news organizations tried to steer the conversation away from the substance of the exchange. Their headlines focused on Musk's demeanor, calling him arrogant, combative, and even dismissive of democracy.
A few anchors accused him of grandstanding for social media. One commentator said, "This is not how a responsible tech CEO behaves in front of Congress." But here's the problem for that narrative. Even critics had to acknowledge one undeniable
fact. Musk had come prepared. Crockett hadn't. Despite the media spin, the clip of Musk calmly asking, "Do you even have an account on X?" was everywhere. It didn't matter how many pundits labeled him out of line. The internet had already made up its mind. And while some tried to distract with tone policing, others recognized something bigger was happening. Independent journalists, tech commentators, and free speech advocates were quick to point out that this moment was more than a viral clip. It was a clear cultural shift. For years, tech CEOs had sat before congressional panels and dodged questions, bent to pressure, or apologized. For their platforms, they played defense. They conceded ground. They tried to avoid conflict, but not Elon Musk. This time, things were different. This time, the narrative flipped. Musk didn't come to take punches. He came to throw them. And that boldness hit home with millions of viewers across the political spectrum. It wasn't about left or right anymore. It was about one man refusing to be intimidated by political posturing. "I'm not here to be lectured by people who haven't even used the product," Musk said during a later interview. That line was soon quoted in blogs, newsletters, and tweets from Silicon Valley insiders and political thinkers alike. To them, it symbolized something deeper, a rejection of top-down control over public discourse. Musk's defense of X wasn't just about business, it was about principles. He wasn't just trying to protect a social media platform. He was making a stand for freedom of expression, transparency, and the right of everyday users to speak without fear of censorship or political silencing. In the days following the hearing, traffic on X surged. People who had never used the platform were signing up. Others who had been inactive returned out of curiosity, eager to see what all the fuss was about. Musk's own posts about the hearing received tens of millions of views, with support pouring in from users around the world. And while mainstream media focused on Crockett's intentions, it was the online independent creators who dominated the conversation. YouTubers, podcasters, Substack writers, and streamers were all analyzing the exchange, and the consensus was overwhelming. Crockett showed up with a script. Elon showed up with facts. She thought she could score political points. He flipped the whole game. This was the moment big tech stopped apologizing. The legacy press had lost control of the story, and Musk knew it. One viral post said it best. Congress tried to drag Elon through the mud. He handed them the shovel. But it wasn't just a PR win for Musk. It was a wake-up call for Washington. For years, many lawmakers had coasted on the assumption that their political stature automatically made them experts. But in a rapidly evolving digital world, that illusion was starting to crack. Crockett's biggest mistake wasn't her passion. It was her lack of understanding. She walked into a tech policy fight without doing her homework, and Musk exposed it live for the world to see. That exposure didn't just damage her. It embarrassed the entire process. It raised serious questions about how Congress handles tech regulation and who should be leading those discussions. And that's exactly what Musk wanted. If you're going to try to regulate speech, tech, and platforms, at least understand what they are, he said later. Otherwise, you're just guessing with people's freedoms. In just a few short hours, a congressional hearing meant to corner Elon Musk had catapulted him into the spotlight as a cultural force, not just a businessman, but a symbol of resistance against government overreach. He had shown that it was possible to push back and win. This wasn't just about defending X. This was about setting a new precedent. One where tech innovators don't have to grovel before political theatrics. One where they can stand tall and speak truth to power, backed not by political donations, but by data, results, and conviction. The message was loud and clear. X is a platform for free speech, not government censorship. If you want to shut it down, you'd better come prepared. And just like that, the balance of power had shifted, at least for a moment. No longer was big tech just the target. With Elon Musk leading the charge, it was ready to fight back. In the days that followed the congressional hearing, the ripples from that explosive exchange between Elon Musk and Rep. Jasmine Crockett didn't fade. They only grew stronger. The buy. Internet doesn't forget. And in this case, it didn't want to. While the traditional news cycle tried to move on, social media kept the story alive. Clips of Musk's calm, confident rebuttals and Crockett's shaky responses were still being reposted with fresh commentary. New memes surfaced daily. YouTube creators were dissecting the hearing frame by frame with titles like, "This is why you don't come for Elon." Crockett's collapse, explained in 5 minutes. The viral moment that shook Congress, even. TikTok was flooded with mashups of the hearing, dramatic remixes of Elon's most cutting quotes, and users lip-syncing Musk's now iconic question, "Do you even have an account on X?" It became more than a viral clip. It became a cultural landmark, a single moment that symbolized a shift in how tech leaders confront government criticism. And the fallout? Oh, it was real. Damage control. Mode Crockett's supporters scrambled to contain the narrative. Her team issued statements about the importance of holding tech accountable. Sympathetic media outlets ran op-eds defending her courage and accusing Musk of tech bro bullying. Some tried to redirect attention to other parts of the hearing or focus on broader tech policy concerns, but none of it worked. Why? Because the internet had seen what happened, and it had already decided. Every attempt to downplay the exchange only made it worse. In fact, Crockett's response strategy backfired. Instead of regaining control, she amplified her defeat. People saw her scrambling, not standing strong. The harsh reality of digital politics kicked in. One unprepared moment, caught on camera, can unravel years of positioning. Her empire of credibility, built around her image as a modern, tech-literate voice for media and digital freedom, was now in shambles. Critics pointed out that she couldn't even speak confidently about the platform she was attacking. Her authority on tech issues was suddenly in question, and that doubt spread fast. Even neutral voices started asking, how many of our elected officials actually understand the tech they're trying to regulate? Crockett had become the face of a much larger problem, politicians trying to control digital platforms they don't understand. Meanwhile, Elon ascends on the flip side. Elon Musk came out of the situation with a major win. His following didn't just stay loyal, it grew. More. Users flocked to X driven by curiosity. What was this platform that caused such a storm in Congress? Was it really the Wild West of misinformation? Or was it simply a place where uncensored conversations were finally allowed? Musk, ever the showman and strategist, capitalized on the moment. He launched new transparency tools. He posted a thread outlining upcoming changes designed to give more control to users and creators. He doubled down on his message. X is not here to please governments. X is here to protect freedom of speech. That message struck a chord, not just in America, but globally. In countries where censorship is a daily threat, people saw Musk as someone willing to push back against political overreach. Free speech advocates and digital rights activists began referencing the hearing as a watershed moment. Tech CEOs typically try to avoid controversy. They issue apologies. They promise to do better. But Musk had just flipped the script. He didn't back down. He didn't apologize. He stood his ground and won. He showed the world that if you're armed with facts, principle, and confidence, you don't have to fold under political pressure. You can fight back and shake even the most powerful institutions in the process. Turning point for tech and politics. This wasn't just about Musk and Crockett anymore. It was about something bigger. This moment marked a new phase in the relationship between Silicon Valley and Washington. For years, politicians had demanded that tech companies submit to their vision of acceptable content. But what happened in that hearing flipped the narrative. Tech leaders don't have to beg for forgiveness when they build platforms for open dialogue. They don't have to accept vague accusations without evidence. And most importantly, they don't have to let uninformed politicians rewrite the rules of speech. Musk drew a line in the sand, and millions cheered him on. This hearing became the blueprint for how tech CEOs might approach political pushback going forward. No more apologizing, no more pandering. Just transparency, facts, and a firm defense of the digital public square. A moment that follows you forever as for Jasmine Crockett. She'll likely continue her political career. Her supporters will rally around her. New headlines will come, and new controversies will grab attention. But this moment, this exchange with Elon Musk, will follow her. It will be replayed every time she speaks on tech policy. It will be referenced in debates, quoted in editorials, and used in political ads. In the age of viral video, you don't need to lose a race to lose momentum. One unprepared moment can define everything. That's the power of the internet. That's the weight of a single question, asked at the right time, in front of the right audience. Do you even have an account on X? That wasn't just a question. It was a mirror. And in that mirror, millions saw the truth. A politician, unprepared, and a tech CEO unafraid. In the end, Elon Musk didn't just win an argument. He changed the rules of engagement. This wasn't just a hearing. It was a battle of ideas. Elon Musk didn't just clap back. He delivered a masterclass on how to handle political pressure. And while Crockett aimed to take him down, she ended up exposing just how unprepared some lawmakers are when it comes to the digital age. Who do you think won the debate? Was Elon too harsh? Or did he say what needed to be said? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories where power meets truth.